Welcome to yet another episode of the BWP series. I'm relaxing here with my man, Ram. Still talking about health. There's nothing more healthy than enjoying a little breeze with nature. Today we're about to talk about something very interesting, something very intricate, and something that's killing a lot of our brothers and sisters and some of our mothers and siblings and so on. See, the human body is made up of cells, and these cells follow a particular order. And when that order is disrupted, some of the cells, which are supposed to be born, build themselves up to perform a certain function, and die off gradually, decide not to die anymore. Some decide not to do those functions anymore. And some of them just keep on producing more cells. This disorder creates something we call cancer. Ram is about to tell us a little bit about this and what the world of cancer is all about. Ram, what can you tell us about cancer?
So cancer is a broad term for a group of diseases that involve unchecked proliferation of cells, where proliferation is whereby the cells are dividing when they should not be dividing. Essentially, it will come to a point whereby these divided cells begin to disrupt what you call normal functions of other bodily systems. So eventually you have these super cells that are supposed to die off, as like you described, but they can't die off. And you get what is called cancer. Sometimes the cancers or tumors, the tumor is another term for cancers, they can grow and reach a certain size and then they're just static and they're held in place. What's really causes mortality in cancers is that they metastasize. Metastasis means they tend to, one tumor cell can break off from the collective bunch, it gets carried in the bloodstream and can go and sit in the brain. It starts a brain cancer, it can go sit in the lung. Part of the job of the immune system is that it checks tumors, it puts tumors in check. Every year, at least we have one or two super cells that attempt to do their own thing. My immune system is always checking for these abnormal cells and, putting a halt to their activities. That's called immunosurveillance. The other thing about the immune system is
so the immune system is like a spy, or it's like a whole security system.
It's a whole security system. It's not just bacteria, viruses. It puts the brakes on tumors because it's part of the natural process. I'd like to believe maybe I had 3 or 4 tumors at some point hiding somewhere and they got killed off. The other thing that most people don't know is that there might be a lot of individuals walking around with what you call quiet tumors. The tumors in a state of equilibrium. They are not growing, but they're not dying. But the immune system has somehow been able to put a check on them.
Want them off. It's like quarantine.
Quarantine them, that's right. But when we get to a certain age, maybe after 60, after 70, I quite recently see David Bowie died of cancer. Alan Rickman. These are celebrities that's been shown on the airwaves lately. And the common denominator is that they are all past a certain age. So the immune system tends to decline in its function because of the aging process. And we tend to find out that cancers become more prevalent. So cancer is a disease of the age which tends to rear its ugly head when the immune system is no longer functioning. Another part of cancer that you might find interesting is that in relation to the immune system is you take HIV. Now, HIV/AIDS is immunodeficiency. The immunodeficient virus, the HIV virus that is, will infect your CD4 cells. That's a little complicated. But then, when your immune system breaks down, AIDS patients tend to have a really high rate of contracting this particular form of cancer called Kaposi's sarcoma. It's a cancer of endothelial cells. And the point I just made was just to belabor how important the immune system plays in holding tumors in check. So that's the immune system. That said, knowing what we know about the immune system today, there's a lot of promise in what we call reprogramming the immune system to attack and destroy these tumor cells that have escaped immune surveillance.
So, let me understand this properly. I mean, as being a layman, the immune system,
Right.
I mean, let's kind of look at it like you know, you're in some African country or like in a developing country,
Right.
and you have this network of secret agents, or let's say you have a whole surveillance network, or police system, or your military.
Exactly.
But then, you know, they realize that there's a threat, and they quarantine that threat.
That's right.
But they may not have the skills or the tools to totally eradicate that threat, or to even process that threat, or even to know how to deal with that threat. So sometimes if they're able to link with another entity, or they have a group of people that understand how to deal with that threat, and they program, they build up their network properly, maybe in the future they'll be able to deal with these threats even better.
Actually, you said something that was very right, and also very critical. You said, now, part of the immune system, apart from immunosurveillance, which it does, we've touched on that, what I failed to mention is that it also destroys cancer cells. So, but the immune system is a whole collection of different cell types. There's some cell types that will recognize that, hey, this is a tumor. And, you know, it secretes molecules that attract other immune cells that prevent further growth of the tumor. So the tumor is in a state of equilibrium, it's static. But then there are also cells that actually destroy the tumor. So our immune system does destroy tumors. And these are the CD8 T cells. They recognize tumor cells and destroy them, because tumors have these unusual proteins on them. We call them tumor-associated antigens. It's like, you know, my whole body is a cell, or a tumor cell. Maybe instead of 2 ears, because I'm a tumor cell, I got a 6th ear growing here on top of my head. My immune system can recognize that as abnormal and mark me for destruction. So there's a certain amount of immune destruction that takes place. But like you said, a lot of the time, tumors have this ability to create tolerance within the immune system, meaning that the immune system tends to ignore the tumor. The tumor has trained the immune system to ignore it. And this is how tumor escapes immune surveillance. So that led to your other question, is that what other entities or tools can be used to combat cancer? To this, I'd say this lends itself to the field of immunotherapy. And it's a branch of medicine, meaning that we can take out T cells or dendritic cells. Dendritic cells are involved in surveillance. They look for things that are abnormal in our body. You know, they're always sampling and reprogram them and put them inside back in the patient, and they are reinvigorated, reprimed to recognize the tumor and destroy it. So that's immunotherapy. Another branch of immunology is the development of monoclonal antibodies. Before I go further, I'd like to just define what a monoclonal antibody, or even an antibody is, for that matter. An antibody is a soluble biomolecule, protein molecule, that is secreted in the bloodstream by B cells. B cells, antibodies tag extracellular entities within our body's bloodstream. You know, anywhere in the body, anything that looks abnormal, you can have an antibody for it, guaranteed. And once you tag it with the antibody, the other cells that come and bind to the other end of the antibody and engulf and eat. So macrophages, which are these other cells of the immune system, recognize antibodies that have attached themselves to tumors. So there's a whole field in biotechnology
that goes around the science of ensuring that, you know, you're kept safe and your body's kept safe and those cells are attacked.
Yes, we can develop, in theory, actually, which is actually being done, we can develop synthetic monoclonal antibodies that recognize specific tumor types, inject them into the patient, and it brings about destruction. A lot of them are in the market. There's a drug called Herceptin, Rituximab, and these are all monoclonal antibodies. So it's something that could be done here too.
Basically, what Ram is saying is that there's opportunity for some of you to get into the science and learn more about it, so more people can be saved. But more importantly, can you imagine a country without its police system, without a surveillance system, without any type of security, left wide open. If you can't imagine that, then you need to start taking very good care of your immune system. You need to start living right. You need to start staying healthy so that your immune system can protect you from all the things that you can't see that is happening to your body. Stay tuned to the BWP series. We'll be talking some more about immunology and how you can protect yourself. Go to the channel BWP series and subscribe now. It could save your life. Stay empowered.